How we doing, everyone? What is going on? Let me know if you can hear me and you can see me while you're there, while you're typing. Let me know where you're from, where you everywhere you're tuning in from, and all that sort of stuff. Um, Drop a like on the stream if you're feeling particularly nice today. That would be fantastic. I'm gonna try to do something while we're getting started here. I'm gonna try to do something that I don't normally do. I normally send out an email on my newsletter, like my mailing list. So if you're not subscribed to that, go to mjs.bio and there's a little form to fill out there if you'd like to get the emails of when I do stuff. But I'm gonna click the button to send that email now rather than in advance because I'm testing something just to see like if a notification style email rather than like a pre live email would be different in any sort of way. So yeah, but I'm doing that through Bento, which is a fantastic platform that you guys should all check out. And maybe one day when my website is created and finished, I will have all the resources because there's a lot of really interesting ideas that I have, and some of them that I've already built onto my website, but you just can't see it yet. So because it's not launched. Sorry about that. But yeah, let me know where you guys are from. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Let me know if I'm looking and sounding good because I did not check and I'm paranoid. So that is that. But other than that, we got some interesting topics to talk about today because it has been quite the week in WordPress land. So let me go to pull some things up on my side here and we will just dive into it. Oh, okay. I got it. We're good. Sweet. Lovely. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything there. All right, awesome. Cool, great. Why don't we just dive into it then? What do you say? Let's do that. I'm going to slide over to here. So I think I mentioned this last week, but this is an interesting and fun thing that I thought about doing. So all of my subscriptions on my YouTube channel are basically WordPress or like WordPress adjacent folks. Okay, so like this is what I see like all the time. I also have like on the desktop, can't really do it on mobile. This is an aside, but real quick. Can't really do it on mobile unless you do some like weird stuff, but like on desktop, obviously if you're on Chrome or Arc or whatever, like you can get a little extension. So I have, you'll notice like if you ever see my YouTube, it's a little different. I don't have like a home page because the home page is where like productivity and potentially your soul goes to die. So I mean, I still get sucked in on my phone, but when I'm on the computer, I don't have any of that. I think I'm using a couple different things. I think the one is Unhook. I don't know if you can't see the little hover thing up here, but if you just type in Unhook, if you're on YouTube a lot, it lets you get rid of like the home thing and all that sort of stuff. So I've made this a little bit more productive. So I've only subscribed to like WordPress people and stuff like that. And then I also got rid of that homepage. I got rid of like all like the crazy recommended stuff on the side because I would just be in a black hole every single day if that was the case. So just wanted to show you guys this. We'll go through that. Jackson, appreciate you being here, brother. I just watched the video on ASE. I had heard so many things about ASE, but really loved your look into that because there's a ton of really good stuff in that plugin. That's right here. Speaking of that, gentlemen and gentle ladies that I am subscribed to, you guys should all go watch this video. I think the link I just posted might have a timestamp in there, so maybe start from the beginning because that's a fantastic video. Max, thank you for being here, brother. Appreciate you as always. Looking forward to more AI content from you, so I love that. But yeah, so just real quick, like this is literally sometimes how I get ready for these live streams is just kind of think back through the whirlwind of the last 7 days since I went live because I'm, again, if you don't know, I go live every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. But I think back through the whirlwind of things that have happened and I just kind of look through like my subscriptions and maybe some timelines depending on what was going on. And there's just been a lot of stuff, again, just in the last, this is actually ridiculous now that I'm looking at this because how many times did I just scroll there? How many rows of videos? Like there's actually no way that you could possibly watch all of these. Like there's, like I'm subscribed to I don't know how many people in WordPress. And like if we go just a week back, Oh my God, we're like at least 10 rows deep, or 10, yeah, I mean, like, this is crazy. Like somewhere in here, like, I don't know, it doesn't show my stuff. So like, I don't know where, but around here, this whole area, right? So I don't know, just kind of a random aside to kind of like jump into kind of what we're talking about here. But yeah, there's just a ton of content, and this actually lines up completely perfectly with what I will get to throughout this stream in particular. And I only have an hour. The reason I only have an hour is because I'm actually going to be a guest over on WP Tonic, and I will drop that link right here in the chat if anybody wants to check that out later. I'll do that later as well. But I'm going to be a guest on the Tonic, and they're talking about a lot of these things because, again, even though there's a lot going on in WordPress, it's also kind of like small. I feel like in certain aspects, like, you know, when there's big topics kind of going on, just about, again, like the rounds of like Gutenberg and just some page builders and like all sorts of stuff. Everybody has a thought, and you know, the people that cover the stuff, we want to talk about it. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, so I'll be over there at in an hour, I guess, right? Like 50 minutes or whatever. But looking forward to chatting with the guys there. It's always a good time. I think there's some ladies as well. Heather, I think, will be on there. Not sure exactly the guest list, but excited to. Jason Cohen, the founder of WP Engine, will also be on that episode. So looking forward to chatting there. Let's go through some of these things. I got a couple thoughts on some stuff here. So the first one is actually related to where I came from, Elementor. So I still have Elementor on sites. I still have to, you know, like use it and everything like that. And again, like, I never wish any ill will necessarily on Elementor or any other page builder. I feel like Bricks is where I'm at now, or even like closer to Core, depending on stuff that I might be doing in the future and everything like that. So there was a really interesting thing, and I'm literally going to use this. I'm literally going to use this subscriptions thing as a little bit of a guide, even though there's a lot going on the screen right now. I do apologize, but there is ultimately what the first thing I want to talk about culminated with this live stream here with Matt over the WP Minute, Ryan Long, and Miriam over at Elementor, which is great. I love this. I love this concept. Okay, I love dialogue. I love people talking. I'll give you the background story here, but like, again, Miriam is from Elementor. Matt is, you know, just a content creator and somebody that knows this space very well. And Ryan is I believe, an agency owner. I haven't talked to him specifically, but I am connected with him now on different platforms, and I've watched a few of these videos here that I'm going to talk about. Agency owner, WordPress guy, like, does a lot of stuff with it. Been using Elementor for a long time. Very similar to like, you know, where I've been, right? So his channel is WP Turned Up. Okay, and this, I'll drop the I don't know what I'm clicking here with the links. There's gonna be a lot of links in here. There's too much content, a lot of links. But there is Ryan's channel, WP Turned Up here. Definitely go give him a subscription, because I know he's turning up the content, haha, pun intended. But a lot of these videos we're talking about, like, kind of Elementor and you know, kind of hearing more about, like, kind of the situation here, like, that he's particularly plagued with. So like, the, you know, the one that's gotten a significant amount of traction here was Elementor keeps giving paying customers the middle finger. And there's a few different parts of this, but I will kind of just give you the context of it. But basically, Ryan was saying that Elementor now has, like, kind of cluttered up their UI a little bit with AI and like different pop-ups and things like that. The stuff that we always talk about all the time, where like nobody likes like notices and like people like forcing their way in there. And he brings up a lot of really good points, because if you're trying to build websites for clients are going to get, like, sometimes we don't understand stuff. Clients are going to get even more confused when they see these types of things. So, you know, as an Elementor Pro like customer, he didn't really appreciate that. Made a few videos on it. Really in-depth stuff, like talking about like his experience and everything like that. Reached out to Matt Medeiros at WP Minute, and they set up a call with him, Ryan, Matt, and Miriam from Elementor. And then that was that other one that I just put in there, that live stream from the other day, and I thought it was really great, because that is, to me, that's how you get shit done, like, in a sense. Like, you kind of give your thoughts, you try to get into the things. He talks too about like how he was getting into GitHub with Elementor and everything like that, and talks about the whole line of you know, processes with feature requests and all that sort of stuff. And I thought that was really interesting because it definitely aligns to a lot of the conversation, the other conversation that we'll touch on this week, obviously about like kind of core, the GitHub situation there. And obviously it's like kind of a different, there's a little bit of a different scope there on some of those things, but I don't know, just thought it was really interesting. Definitely worth shouting out. If you're an Elementor user, it's probably really going to resonate with you. If you're not, I still think that there's some value to be gained through that there. So let's take a look at some of the comments here. Max says, "Yeah, I still have Elementor for 99 euros a year from when it was inexpensive." Yeah, I mean, I have 1,000. Well, I had the lifetime. I had like the unlimited one, and then they cut that back to 1,000 sites, which is definitely a different quantity, but is it really a different quantity depending on who you are, what you're doing? So, but I think my price is still the same. I think I have it like 149 or $150 a year or something like that for those. So it was definitely cheaper at one point, but things evolve and it gets interesting. So skating, what's up? Hope you're doing well as well. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. Not giving up because old sites and designer colleagues from Word Optimizer. So yeah. So that's the tough part too. It's funny. I'm actually dealing with that exact situation right now because I have like we'll call them legacy-ish clients on Elementor, and I'm just dealing with a situation right now where there's a lot of issues that come with just a stack. I'm not even blaming the tools. I'll blame my understanding of WordPress and of the tools and of building websites at that point, right? Like I have like a website with like 50 plugins built with Elementor, Jet Engine, a bunch of other stuff that I know I could build way more effectively now. And it's just like, you know what I mean? Like it works. Like, there's nothing like really wrong with it, but it could definitely be a lot better. It could be faster. It could be more reliable. It could do better. It could do more things. Like I could do all that. And that's a situation because, I've just grown I've evolved. My knowledge of it has evolved. The tools have evolved. My stack has evolved. So it's a very interesting problem to have. But it is kind of like everything else, Websites have a lifespan, whether we like it or not. I mean, like because of the tools generally that we're using, unless we can get to a point where like, you are just using HTML and CSS or something like you're really just using like kind of the web stack and like but I'm sure your knowledge of programming even changed. So I feel like refactoring is probably always something, like always some sort of an issue. It always comes into play. But it's kind of like buying a car. I mean, you can't really have a car forever, right? There's probably a lifespan on those types of things. But yeah, so I don't know. Interesting topic for sure. What else we got here? So we talked about Elementor and everything like that. Let me pull this back up here, and we will chat about a couple other things here. So the other big thing that randomly happened was Quickly had a live stream, which I can't even remember where I saw it initially I can't remember where I saw it initially that it was happening, but everybody loves to talk about Quickly because it's a very interesting situation. And I never use Quickly, so like I honestly can't really talk that heavily about Quickly. But I've definitely followed the story, so to speak, so it's kind of interesting. And I love the idea of Quickly, truthfully, because it seemed like a generate type, equivalent in a way, or like one of the builders that build a top Gutenberg rather than kind of like go outside and do their own page building thing, which, there's pros and cons to that as well, for sure. But I thought it was really interesting, and I have the free version now, so maybe one day I'll have time to just play around with it. But I thought it was a really cool concept whenever I did learn about it. Just never had the chance to dive in. And yeah, I mean, obviously there's been some stuff that's happened there. There has been it was like touted as being like really good, and then the whole story of just like, okay, we're gonna discontinue it. And I made a video about it, again, kind of the same way I'm talking about it now, where like I wasn't using it, but I was trying to like understand kind of the reason. Obviously, Kevin's talked about it. Obviously, a lot of people have talked about it, and that live stream was interesting. It did seem kind of, Kevin made the point that was kind of vague. It did seem a little bit like that. I don't know what to think there though. I hope for everybody to have success, but I also think that there is like a reality to every situation. I don't know. I literally commented on there. My one question during it was, how are you going to make money? And I'm not like naive to this. There are many ways to make money, but I'm just wondering, like, literally just curious, how do you make money when it's like that powerful of a tool, no longer selling it, all of this stuff happened. The general sentiment is that people won't trust you anymore because of what you've done there. And now it's going to be free. So I don't know. I'm anxious to see how it continues to unfold. I'm sure other people have more specific thoughts about it. I do kind of feel bad for the people that built their business on it, because that does seem kind of like shitty that they probably will have to either rebuild those sites or something. But apparently, it sounds like there's still going to be support for it. So I don't know. Just I would say tread lightly as far as like what you're trying to do there with it. But I don't know. Still seems like a cool idea and a cool platform in a lot of ways. But I don't know. So that's all I got on that. That's all I got on the quickly situation there. We shall see how that continues to evolve. So, all right. So where do we go from here? Well, I guess we should talk about kind of the whole thing here. And this is gonna get like really. Let me make a disclaimer. If you guys haven't figured it out by now, I'm pretty like meta on a lot of this shit. And I'm also extremely fresh, right? I'm extremely green to this. So I'm not like jaded by the cycles of WordPress that have ever gone on. I'm not, because I've heard about them, because I try to like extract as much wisdom from people older than I am and more experienced than I am as possible. And I am not jaded yet heavily. I'm not extremely experienced. Like I don't have that wisdom. That's why I'm trying to absorb it. And I'm trying to think of these things like very critically, like extreme critical thought. It's at least the way that I feel that I think about things. So hopefully you guys appreciate that. I'm always, open to the feedback too, but I hope you guys appreciate that. It's just how I am. I literally couldn't tell you why. So when I dug into this, when I started digging into like the WordPress community and stuff like that, I've just gotten kind of addicted at this point, because it's something that I feel like I'm on a quest to like understand how it all kind of came to be and is continuing to evolve, and it's been great. I've met a lot of fantastic people. I've learned a shit ton, and I'm having fun. So until I stop having fun, we're going to continue to do this. But specifically, like the last week, to me, just as an example, a micro example, these are the things that I really do think actually move. I don't want to say like move things forward from a strict productivity standpoint, but I think if you don't have the stuff like we had in the past week, and I'll explain what I'm talking about, it's just dialogue. Like if you don't have dialogue, if you don't have people talking about what they do and don't like about anything, whatever the topic is, I don't think you're moving forward, because you can't just have people that constantly like love something. You're always going to have people that like have constructive criticism on things. You're always going to have people that have differing opinions, and you got to try to listen to some of that. It might be difficult sometimes, but you got to always try to listen to it. That's kind of my thought process in general, and specifically where we're at, like in the WordPress, realm here. There's a lot going on. So, where to begin? Let's scroll all the way back down. I think it was kind of maybe like 8 days ago here. So obviously 6.6 came out. Let's kind of just go through the quick timeline here, and I'll continue to have my thoughts. 6.6 came out just over a week ago. Matt made a video. Would highly recommend you go watch that. Again, these might have timestamps in them. Just watch from the beginning. I'll try to take them out here. There's one. Rob here got to my desk early, so popped in to see what the fuck WordPress project is. Yeah, that's we can actually address that real quick. The WordPress project is like a term that I hear used a lot from like automatic people, and I think that that's actually a really big important point, because it is, and I get it from people that have been in WordPress as well, but it's a project, not a product, which makes sense to me. And I've always that's one of the things that I'm still trying to like fully make sense of, though, because I still feel like you could have a project that has characteristics of a product. What I mean is, if me and 17 of my buddies, okay, we all have jobs, and we all have, we all do 9 to 5 work for XYZ, whatever. But then we come together and we want to build like what's a good idea? We want to build like some sort of something like an app, or like just like some sort of thing that we're gonna kind of like sell or whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm conflating two things here. I'm conflating like, this is probably a bad analogy, but my point is, if I'm going to put effort into something, maybe this is just me. If I'm going to put effort into something and I'm going to create anything, right? Platform, project, product, doesn't really matter. I feel like there is some similarities in the fact that I want people to use the thing. I feel like that, especially after a certain point, which WordPress is absolutely past that certain point. But like maybe at first it's just for you and your buddies or whatever. But I'm not saying that I know the exact history of how this all went down. I'm just saying in generality, this project versus product thing. I still want people to like the thing. I still want it to be extremely useful. I still want as much adoption as possible. That would be my thought process. Maybe it's different, but that would be my thought process. So if that was at all what you were talking about there, Rob, with what the project, like what the fuck the project is, that's just kind of the insight that I have. There's like these words that obviously mean different things, but are still really similar to me. And it's just one of the things that I haven't gotten entirely full clarity on yet, because while it isn't a product for sure, I guess, I still feel like there's a lot of overlap. And I definitely think that there is a misunderstanding pretty much with everybody in the entire world, other than like maybe 5% of people that think it is a product for many reasons. The simplest reason being the fact that there's WordPress.com and WordPress.org, like as an example. So we don't need to go super deep into that because a lot of the other stuff will talk about this, but that is definitely an issue. And I don't know how, like that is one of the craziest things that have ever happened. Like this WordPress.com.org confusion. I mean, again, it's a small thing, but it's really, really impactful, because like that's another, it just confuses. Like you have to like think, every time I think about these things, I think about like, what is the least educated person on the scenario going to think when they just see it? Like, what's their first thought going to be? What's their first reaction? And like, there is no way anybody like understands that like right off the rip. So it's just crazy. But anyway, a little bit off topic, a little bit kind of still there. Let's go back and let's talk about this. So I would say kind of the first thing that kind of sparked a lot of this obviously was 6.6. So 6.6 came out. Matt made his video. There's another video right here from Adam over at WP Crafter, and I think we're going to touch on a lot of this too in that tonic episode in a half an hour or so. If you guys want to watch me and the gang over there, definitely go check that out. But couple of videos here, obviously from Matt, from Adam, and then from Paul. And you can kind of see here that, I'm not sure of like all the numbers, like the numbers obviously vary from creator to creator, topic to topic, but I mean like 10K people like watching these, 11K people, like it's kind of, it's kind of slightly impactful. Like people definitely at least like watched it and had some thoughts on it. So they got like a little bit of a thing going here, I would say. As much as you can, like in, again, in the WordPress space of people that care about these types of topics. And it was really interesting to kind of see their perspectives on, and these are quite, like these two videos specifically here, Paul's and Adam's, are very much obviously opinionated, like dead on arrival. As soon as I saw that thumbnail, I was like, okay, what are we talking about here? Like, I'm interested to hear the perspective. WordPress UX sucks. Definitely like very interested to hear those thoughts. And they make a lot of great points. I'm not going to, again, watch the whole videos. I'm not going to go in depth on both of them, but they kind of, I feel like they were one of the catalysts that kind of started a lot of these conversations. And then we had a few live streams and different things that kind of went from there as well, which I will touch on here. Max got a quote here. A beginning is a very delicate time. I was there at the beginning of WordPress being on text pattern when Matt was evaluating Dean's work. Only the MIT license of TP license sparked WordPress. That's good insight that I obviously wasn't there for. I'd be interested to kind of hear more about that. Because, I mean, I don't know obviously the entire history. Wasn't there. I was just a wee lad at that point. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see how it's evolved. Definitely we need to have a campfire chat, and I need to hear all the ghost stories from back in the dizzy of WordPress. But yeah, so we were having these, and then I got a bunch of links over here that I can pull up. We could also kind of just see the timeline of some of these. So that was on, I guess, Wednesday of last week. And then on Thursday, or actually I think it was Friday, we actually had Max and I'm sorry, Max and Ann over on the Bridge Builders series. Matt Eastwood is on over on Matt Eastwood's channel here. So we're talking about this, and it was kind of interesting. I mean, we talked about a lot of this stuff, but I mean, we were kind of talking about AI and grades specifically. But so that episode was great, and then we had kind of this, which was again, I'm trying to give you the actual timeline just to key you all in. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you've heard the timeline, maybe you experienced it, but I'm giving you the rundown. So then we had this clip here where like kind of we're all talking about just kind of the idea, and Anne brings up some points of like our WordPress creators like responsible for creating dialogue and for kind of like talking about the things like there's a conversation like should we shout it out like into our following and into our audience, or should we kind of like get a little bit more involved and everything like that? And there's just kind of a conversation was kind of started there a little bit. And I'm not saying all of these the only particular relation to like all of these events is that they're on my subscriptions feed. Okay. Like that's the only one specific relation. I'm not saying any of these like specifically like were related to one another. The two things they're all about WordPress and they were on my subscription feed. And we probably all kind of like mutually kind of know each other to some degree. Nobody's talking about anybody specifically. There's no personal attacks or anything like that. We're having a discussion about how to move this whole thing forward in our opinionatedly best ways possible, or just giving our thoughts, which this is the point that I think is absolutely 100% necessary. If we do not have this, we do not have like an actual functioning community, because we cannot just have people like just, you have to give your thoughts. If you don't give your thoughts and you don't have conversations with people, we're not going to continue to move forward. We're not going to continue to evolve. We're not going to continue to make everything great. So that is definitely where I'm at, like kind of with all that. So these are the types of weeks and like kind of events and conversations that I love. So that's kind of my position on all of that. Jeff Finley, what's up, brother? Unhook is a good add-on for YouTube. I also use D-Arrow to disable clickbait. Interesting. I haven't heard of D-Arrow. I'm gonna have to look at that. But yeah, Unhook is fantastic. Yeah, love that one. Using it currently. What do we got here? Going back. Okay, so we kind of had the Bridge Builders episode. Then we had this clip that we clipped out because we thought it was good. And it was really interesting. Got some good thoughts, good engagement on it, everything like that. And then this was seemingly out of the blue, but fantastic. Paul, Imran, Jeffrey, and Mark all had a live stream about like, should we be open about discussing WordPress? And I think there was some other obviously topics and stuff like that in there. And it was great. I love the perspectives from everybody. And I thought it was really thought provoking. I was in the chat here and I was asking a bunch of questions, because here's where the light bulb moment kind of started to go off for me a little bit, because I'm constantly in this loop of like trying to understand shit, give my opinion on stuff, and then learn and then implement and do work at the same time. And it's tough. But I was like in this conversation, I'm like thinking of all the things that I have learned, and I've like all the wisdom that I've garnished and the things that I've also personally experienced, and trying to like see if I can connect some of the dots for only being here for less than a year, so to speak. And it's just really interesting because, you know, I'm looking, the way that I perceive a live stream like that is I'm looking at like literal like goats, like people on the top of Goat Mountain here of the WordPress like space, like people have been in it for a long time, lots of subscribers, lots of influence, and they're talking about these things, and even they have concerns, and I feel like rightfully so. And it's like, there's gotta be we've got to kind of create some sort of like channels and things like that to have these conversations, and some methodologies maybe perhaps around this that are not just, you know, we're not just like kind of screaming into the void type thing or like riling up the audience or whatever. I do think there's kind of a place for that. I don't think we should stop doing any of that. I'm just saying like there's got to be like, hopefully we can things can also evolve from this, or we can have these conversations. So the reason I'll inject this here, the reason that like I was thinking of thumbnails and just thinking of like a way to kind of package what I'm thinking right now, it's like literally the thumbnail of this live stream is like, maybe we should go to the source. Like I'm just thinking in my head, like, what the fuck? Like, why have we not like gone there yet? Like when I say we, I'm sure somebody else has, but like what, like, has that option, has that approach already been taken as an example, right? And I'll give you more context on that because there is some I would say developments or whatever. But I'm going to give you a caveat, and I'm just being as real as possible with you. The caveat is what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. Just speaking from my personal side of it. So I don't know. I haven't been here. Like, right. So like maybe everything that I'm talking about and I'm discovering has already been like discovered, tried, and failed. And there is no like answers to any of it. I don't know. Again, like I said, I'm still having fun. So until I stop having fun, I'm not gonna fret about that. But the way that I'm going through all these progressions is that would be the next thing. Is like, okay, well, hey, we have a lot of great people here. We have a lot of great ideas. We have a lot of different things. How do we continue to move it forward? Because I think there's extreme value, obviously, in contributing like with code or whatever, but there's also a lot of value in contributing with just ideas and like thought processes and literal like experience, boots on the ground. I think that's like a really important thing that like for some reason doesn't get talked about as much or enough. So something there. Atmosphere Entertainment. Good morning, Alex here. What's up, Alex? Great to see you. Thanks so much. Brendan in the chat. What up, dog? What do you regard as the source? We can get into that for sure. So like, I would say like the source. So I'm still discovering, trying to see, appreciate you being here, Andrew, as well. I'm trying to understand what the source actually would be as well. But so for instance, if we have thought processes, right? And again, like actually there's the rest of this timeline here, I can go through it, but like Paul, for instance, like put up a great video too, which I'd never seen. And this is another light bulb moment for me. Okay. Let me answer this question. I'm going to answer this question, Andrew, but I'm going to do it in a long way. So apologize. But so we had this video, we had this live stream, and then Matt and I, we were watching that and we had a thought, we're like, we gotta talk about this too. Cause Matt had some different thoughts and things like that or whatever. Patrick, what's up, brother? Thank you so much for being here. So we had this. So we had this live stream. We're talking about a bunch of different stuff. Matt, again, obviously deploying his wisdom and me kind of like trying to navigate it as well and give some thoughts. And then Paul had another live stream. This is, again, not necessarily all specifically related, but definitely tangentially related. But I want to talk about this because this is gonna kind of like feed directly into this answer to this question. This great question here from Andrew. So Paul puts up a video like this, which I've never seen. Now again, I'm not claiming to have been here for very long, nor watched every single piece of WordPress content ever. But I've never seen somebody with Paul's level of influence put up a video just like this that is so simple and so easy to understand. Regardless, separating aside whether you think like this is the way, the only way, the best way, whatever, to actually get involved with WordPress, in this video, this is required viewing. Again, I feel like this is one of those videos that's required viewing. It's 5 minutes, and it's like this is how you make changes in WordPress effectively. Like actually try to make changes. And all he's saying in there is that you can't just like, I mean, it comes off the back of a lot of this stuff, but you can't just like talk about the stuff necessarily, because I've come to some realizations here. You have to go into WordPress, you have to go into GitHub, and you have to like put in like an issue and say, this is broken, whatever. Make some good points in there. Like that's not really for everybody. Like, people, like most people in WordPress, like aren't even gonna understand Like there's a lot of really good stuff in there. Okay. But I've never seen anybody actually make that video. And I've thought about it many times. Cause like months ago, I was like, how the hell do I even like get involved? And like, I'm thinking about like how like disjointed a lot of this stuff is, which again, pros and cons of this. I understand it's a project. But like there's Slack, there's GitHub, there's this, there's that, there's Track back in the day. Like there's all this stuff. And I'm just trying to get educated on it. And I'm somebody that is like furiously trying to understand this. Like if you're not like that, you're never going to understand all this stuff. So it's just a really interesting juxtaposition. So what that what that led me to, if we go back to that stream to talk about the source, there has been this idea recently populated of, there was like the media core idea in WordPress, and then there's like a YouTube group that it's led by Ann McCarthy. We had a call here a couple weeks ago, I think, with just some YouTubers, right? The issue here is I think that there's a lot of power in like a group like this, from the sense of like, if we can kind of like all share thoughts and kind of come to, I'm not even going to say like a cohesive idea of what, of like features or things like that, but like there's just more room for like actual transparent dialogue and communication, I feel like. Because somehow WordPress is evolving, right? And the thing that I'm still not sure of is like, how is it evolving? Like who, like, I don't think it's actually, Brian Cords and others have pointed out to me, I don't think it's actually that convoluted or complex, but it is definitely, is opaque the one that is opaque, the one where you can't see through? I don't know. It is definitely like not transparent enough that not everybody, like even in the know, knows. Like that's a little bit of a contradiction there, but I'm saying like even people that you would think would know exactly like how this works, they don't. So it's like there's definitely some communication issues there, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe if I could be some sort of a part of that, then that would be fantastic, because I don't want to be the person that's speculating all the time necessarily. Speculation is good in certain aspects, but I don't want to be the guy that's like speculating all the time. I'd like to have some of the details. So the source to get to it would be something like, a, literally completely candid with you, Ann McCarthy, I'm assuming here a little bit, but like works for Automatic, is in there, very involved, highly intelligent, like very, very in there. If we can, and Nick was on this call as well, and Rich and all them people, like I've never really connected with them heavily. I've started to more now. If there's an opportunity to create synergy there between like the people that have opinions, the people that care enough to make YouTube content, and then the people that are actually like leading some of those groups, leading some of those teams, working on the actual shit, I feel like that makes sense. And I'm sure other people have thought of this. I'm not like saying that I'm uncovering shit that nobody else has uncovered. I just think that is where I'm currently at. And I think that there is a lot of opportunity there. And we'll see how it continues to evolve. So when I say source, I literally mean like anybody that has the ability to like have any sort of influence over what is happening. And again, it's an open source project, and maybe you could just be a core contributor and just start like coding shit. I don't know exactly. I'm sure you guys know more than me, but like just trying to unpack that and then see like what connections I can make. That's kind of the way that I think about it. We got a few comments. Let me see what we got here. All right, let's go back here. I enjoyed Paul's video today where he outlined the various motivational sentiments using WordPress. Got many of them. Yeah, let me see. I saw that one as well. Where's that? Yeah, so this is another good one here. So I'll drop that in here. Yeah, so WP Toots, Paul Charlton. Video about WordPress without the ecosystem. Like, would WordPress be where it is without the ecosystem? Paraphrasing, simplifying a 7-minute video. Like, that is a really good point. You know what I mean? And it's an interesting one because, it's kind of the sum of everything that has been created and kind of gone on. There's a lot of good takeaways in that one. And I'm lost again in the chat. Okay, hang on. Paul's okay. Jeff Lynn, I spent so much time this week watching YouTube criticism content. I barely got any work done. Welcome to my life. Welcome to my life, Jeff. Appreciate you being here. That's what I do. That's literally what I do. Required viewing and tasking if you tend to complain a lot and aren't taking action yet. Required viewing and tasking if you tend to complain a lot and aren't taking action. Yeah, so I mean, if I'm understanding that correctly, Max, I mean, yeah, I would tend to agree with that. The only bit I'd push back on though is like, I do think I take a little bit of an issue with the idea of like complaining. I would think complaining is specifically like talking and not taking any action. I do think that there's definitely some nuance to that like, I don't think every bit of constructive criticism on YouTube that people give is completely complaining. because like there may be people that see the shit and do take action or something like that, or at least like you get people that are that like that conversation or point that you bring up like does resonate with people. You start conversations, more conversations, I think ultimately does lead to some sort of change. For sure though, you absolutely have to take action. And that's something that like I've always been talking about. Like I haven't really had any specific criticisms to nail down like with the block editor and stuff and FSE because I haven't been in there enough. But like as I have those, if I do have those, we need to go to GitHub. We need to do something. We need to talk to somebody, at least somebody put something in there. Like that 100% makes sense. I will say this though, because it's a really important point. And it goes back to what Jeff said and kind of what you said there, Max, as well. I will give you insider info here. Okay, it's not insider. It's probably really straightforward and obvious. But with this YouTuber group, I have tried to my best. I don't know why I did this. I've tried to get people into the group. Anybody that's like a YouTuber and wants into that group, like I could probably get you in there because I know Anne is like extremely passionate about it, and she is setting that up and she wants more voices in there. Here's the thing. I don't know why I didn't think of this and I didn't connect this earlier, but now it's connected. They do not have enough time to watch all of the shit we do. Okay? Like think about everything that I've talked about in this video. I scrolled through the subscriptions. There's like, what is there, 6 rows? Like there is like 60 videos at least in the last 7 days. Some of them are tutorial stuff, some of them like unrelated, but like, I mean, there's a lot of videos. This week was it particularly heavy on the criticism stuff, but there's many other people. I'm not subscribed to everyone, okay? There's a ton of thoughts. This is a huge project, obviously. We can't take away. I'm not saying there's simple solutions to these things, but I am saying that like I would like to continue to work towards it and be a part of it. So the point there is that Anne has told me directly that it's difficult for her and other people to actually consume the content because they also have to work, right? So it's difficult, just like Jeff said, it's hard to actually consume all that. So that's kind of the issue, is that we're putting it out there and they're not able to fully consume that. I mean, totally going to give them that because that makes total sense. At the same time, I feel like from a product, whatever perspective, like there's got to be some level of attention built into the schedule to look at those types of things, to see like community sentiment or that type of I think that's really important. It's not like if you were a business, again, drawing maybe separate comparisons. If you were a business, you wouldn't not look at your reviews. I mean, maybe some people would, but I don't think that would be like extremely like helpful, right? If you were getting a shit ton of negative reviews about one thing that like could you just change that process, point of the process or focus on that, it would make all those reviews different, then that's like an idea. I know there's a lot, okay? I'm oversimplifying here, but I'm saying like that's the way that I think about that. So, but it's an extremely valid point that they can't watch all the shit. So it does make total sense. And I never thought about it like that. So that's an interesting one. Definitely this is a real thing. I'm now relying on Mark to summarize all the ones I didn't have time to watch. Yeah, I'm a psycho. Me, Brendan, and then our boomer friend, Maddie Eastwood. They're busier than I am. They're doing more stuff. And I'm just watching all this content and talking on the internet. So I have to summarize for them. But yeah, it's great. Love you guys. Or I'll have Max make some AI assist. That would be a great idea too. Max, can you hop on that, brother? I mean, I would buy it. What's cracking, Brennan? Hell yeah. Steve, good to see you in here. Appreciate you, brother. Max, open source. They forked WordPress into Classic Press, and it had problems catching on. I never used it, but that's the power of the idea. I mean, 100%. WordPress is how do I make a claim like this? I mean, that's the beauty of it. That's like the number one reason we all use it. I've never used Classic Press, but like I'm assuming it's kind of correct me if I'm wrong. Was Classic Press just like around the time that like Gutenberg came out and people were like, now we're gonna stick with the classic editor and stuff like that. And we're just gonna fork it and just keep it over there. I mean, it totally makes sense. I just as another random aside, I don't dislike actually. I do my absolute best to not oh man, I gotta leave soon. But I do my absolute best to not be adverse to evolution and change. Maybe it's because I'm still young. I don't know. But I do my absolute best to embrace it more than I can, because I think a lot of things you literally can't stop. AI obviously is a great one, but like just the evolution of this, of like WordPress too as a platform. Like I wasn't super experienced, I guess, in the classic editor. When I came around into WordPress in 2018, I guess that was maybe the beginning ish of the Gutenberg era and stuff like that. So like I try to not like go back and think of like, oh, maybe it would have been better like that, because I think most of the time when things evolve, they do evolve for the better. Maybe not initially, but at a certain point. So I want to be like constructive in the criticism, and I don't want to be like go back. If you want to do that, that's fine. I'm sure you have good reasons, but I'm just saying like overall, the open source nature of it and everything like that, obviously I love, and the ability to have that is why we're here. Like there's no reason. And again, I'm going to echo this. There is no way that I would be talking about this, or anybody would be talking about this shit, if we didn't think WordPress was the best option and we didn't want it to continue to get better. If you like that mentality doesn't make any sense to me, that like people are complaining about it because they don't like it. It doesn't resonate with me. It really doesn't make any logical sense that you would be talking about something, giving feedback to it or constructive criticism it, and not want it to succeed. That doesn't make any sense. You would definitely not tell your enemy how to be better. You wouldn't do that. There's no way in hell that that would happen. You would build something else, or you would do like, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. That said, the caveat there is, again, there's different levels of contribution to the conversation, and I do think that moving closer to the channels could be one good way to do that. But I also think that there are, I'm going to say this now, and there's going to be more details to this as time rolls on. I also don't think that the way that things are done in any circumstance is the best way. Meaning that I don't think that how WordPress operates today, we'll just say the whole thing of it, there's no objective way to say that that is the best way to do it. Like there's no just because we're doing something today doesn't mean that like it couldn't be done better. And if I hop in further to this conversation and I'm met with the idea, I'm not saying I have been, but I'm saying like if we hop into this conversation, it's like, this is the way it is, shut the fuck up. That's not going to resonate with me either. So I'm just going to say that right now, because like I don't like that idea that like, oh yeah, we already did all this stuff, this is the way it is. It's like that's not how life works. Like you've already evolved, so obviously you knew the stuff that you were doing before wasn't perfect in any aspect, whether it's process related, whether it's actual technology related. Like you always have to be willing to evolve and willing to hear ideas. And then obviously you can there's nuance to everything and you can have a conversation around it. But like if you can't hear the ideas out, I'm also not saying that like that has happened. I'm just saying 6 steps ahead. That'll be interesting to see how that goes. Yeah, so opaque's when you can't see it. Awesome. Thank you for that. I didn't have the dictionary in front of me. Appreciate that, Steve. Opposite of transparent. Nice. You should go to the WordPress build meetings. Is that, enlighten me on what that is. Is that the meetups? Is that the Wednesday? There's like meetups on Wednesdays or something. I don't know. I'm part of so. I was telling Brendan last night, I'm part of so many WordPress meetups now. It's crazy. So I don't know. We'll have to see about that. But I'm definitely down to check shit out. I do have to go very soon. Well, very, very, very soon. Okay. Facebook created React in-house and open sourced it. Now React has evolved into its own entity, but Facebook now profits. That's crazy. I think it's naive for anyone to think the WordPress leadership don't know what is going on in WordPress and the difficulty in making progress with so many hands on board. Definitely difficult with a lot of hands on board. That's a whole conversation in of itself. The leadership doesn't know what's going on. I got to slightly push back though, because there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of stuff. They definitely know what's going on, and that's why I would love to chat more directly, and just kind of understand that more, because that's the type of person I am. But like, I don't think there's any way that like Matt Mullenweg as an example could be watching every single one of these videos, or even like like an Ann McCarthy, Rich Day. Like, I don't think there's any way that they could watch all of this stuff. So I do think that something like what we're moving towards might be a little bit better, where we can have an actual conversation directly. I still don't know how you live streamers getting work done. Me neither, Rob. I've never figured that out. Maybe one day I will. I appreciate the efforts of logging things where contributors receive it. Heck, give timestamps as videos part of it. Yeah, 100%. I need to do a better job of that because I talk about a lot of shit and it's not very organized. Ruben, what up, brother? Thank you for being here. Yeah, I'm not an influencer. If I don't comment, nothing happens. Maybe a channel talking to the void of followers works as well. Yeah, I mean, there's different ways to do stuff. There's levels to it. I don't know. I'm still navigating. WordPress not an outreach Slack channel for non do have an outreach channel for non-Slack contributors and contributors gather to discuss. Yes, I'm actually a part of that, and I do like that because they post a lot of like hallway hangouts and stuff. It's huge. Empathy is important, 100%. YouTube addiction is real. I'm in the consume habit, and creating habit is yeah. Yeah, I was in the consume habit. I got so fed up with consuming that I had to start creating. That is what happened to me. There are many motivations for open source WordPress. Is the idea of open ownership and self-published now shifted a little, staying families. Yeah, 100%. We're just flying through. Oh my God, I don't think I'm going to get through all these. Shit. I really apologize, guys. This engagement's fantastic. I just talked too much and didn't read all these. I really can't use WP Slack. No one uses Impossible. It is pretty difficult. There's a lot there. I don't see many large companies who build enterprise using core complaining. These guys are doing millions of sites a year. Most complaints come from page builder users and teachers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about that space. I've heard certain things from certain people. I would just say that a lot of that is, from what I understand, and I'd have to be corrected, a lot of that is more custom. Like it's like extending the platform, which is fantastic. My pushback though is that that is not the messaging at all from WordPress. It is democratized publishing for everybody. And if that's your messaging, there is definitely more regular people than there are huge companies. So I don't know about that. I'd have to really think more about that. But that's a great topic. So the complaints come from 90. That's exactly what I was saying. You watched updates videos, so we don't have to. Yeah. My wife uploaded a bunch of images named correctly. Do agree the most criticisms come from user and agency. Yep. I'm not sure the teachers are. I gotta go. Complain about users, teachers or the page builders. Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to have a larger discussion on that. It's a very important topic, though. Appreciate that, Andrew. She just needs some training. Got a trainer. What I'm saying is, I'm assuming page builders 5% of enterprise. Yep. Interesting media library load more about. I'd like to go through every comment. Fuck, you guys did a hell of a job today. There's too many. Jesus Christ. I might have to come back to these. Yeah. Art of War. Saw that. Like that. Yeah. I got to read more books too, guys. I'm going crazy. I got to get on Audible a little bit more. Appreciate you being here, Peter. Thank you so much. Yeah, guys, this is a fantastic conversation. I'm so sorry that I got to jump to go to this tonic thing. But I'm excited for the conversation over there too. There's the link if you guys want to check it out. Let's continue this conversation next week on Twitter, whatever. I'm happy to jump on anybody's stream if you guys want to talk to. I love this space. I'm having fun. Really cannot thank you guys enough because this has really been fantastic to actually have critical thought conversations around something that does affect a hell of a lot of people and makes a lot of livelihoods, a lot of people's lives better, helps everybody. So I don't know. That's where I'm at right now. Until next time, I will chat with you guys. Thank you so much for being here.